Let me tell you how it will be.
Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. You know that music. You know what it means. I already gave you a little bit of a warning. He's here. My good friend, Bob Loeser. Taxman Bob, we affectionately call him here on The Price of Business. Good to see you, sir. How are you?
Morning, Kevin. Doing great. How are you?
We are, 1 month away from the final quarter of 2014. What are you going to do about this time lapse that's happening? Forget about the money lapse.
Well, before we trip over October 15th, we have September 15th on the horizon, 10 days away, which is corporate, both S-Corp, C-Corp, and partnerships are due. And the reason why they're due a month early is to give preparers, after they're prepared 1 month, to file what you were mentioning, the October 15th deadline.
Yeah.
So we don't have too many corporates falling into place, maybe 15 to 20. We've got most of them done. It's the personals that have been dragging their feet that, now will be coming aboard. So
all of a sudden, it's going to get real urgent.
And some of them owe money, and it gets urgent when you've swept it under the rug for 6 months, and now you got to write a check.
Yep, absolutely. So overall, how are your clients doing?
In general, well. They're conservative in regards to their approach. They're not going out and spending too much on warehouse, new equipment, etc. They're trying to cut their bottom line, which cut their costs to increase their bottom line, and they seem to be doing a relatively good job without raising too many red flags.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So, where do you see the economy in general? I like to kind of get a pulse on what's happening. What kind of feedback are you getting from your clients about how they feel about the economy? What's your own outlook?
You have to remember we're fortunate here in Houston that
we're kind of in a bubble, aren't we?
We're the one that's pulling the cart, so to speak.
Yeah, we are.
And so here, I see it continuing. The problem is, what is the federal government going to do to assist? And not assist Houston, but assist Philadelphia, Chicago, Detroit, New York, Baltimore, Boston, etc., to increase that productivity from 2%?
Yeah,
2.5% right now, to double it, a 5 or 6% economy growth rate. So we're fortunate here, and I think people continue to be reserved but optimistic here in Houston that it's going to continue. All right, but you never know when the cart turns around and starts pulling us.
Yeah, I've heard it said, and I in fact, there's a recent article that said that Texas literally saved the national economy, and that I think it was in Forbes. And if you took out the statistics of Texas and it only had the 49 other states, the Great Recession we'd still be right in the middle of the Great Recession without any relief after how many years? Right.
So to honor the governor of the state of Texas, you should indict him.
Absolutely. He's too politically potent, obviously. And I'm not a huge fan of him, but boy, you talk about, you got to get me rolling here. You talk about something that is just immoral what they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, particularly for what he's done for this state. I mean, how many businesses are coming here on a daily basis?
Yeah.
They're not leaving, they're coming here.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I think it was our producer, Sigmund Kramer, who came up with that article, and I can't remember where it was. Sigmund, you had it on your Facebook page, which I know you can't keep up with it, but an article about how if it weren't for the Texas economy, the rest of the nation would still be a basket case.
Right. I can't remember exactly where the source on that was, though, but it was a graph showing the growth in the economy, and then you take Texas out of the picture, we're in a recession.
Yeah,
a big one, and that's frightening to think that we are literally, making the country go. We are really greasing the wheels here.
Kevin, I got a great idea with the guest that you just had on.
Yeah,
Sales Bounce.
Yeah, maybe
we have Sales Bounce hire Perry, and then he can be a commission for each of the other states of the union. I hope he's listening.
I like it.
I want a commission on this deal.
I like it a lot. That's actually very clever. Yeah, and that's exactly right. Not only would we still be in a recession, but we would be in a similar recession as we were in 2009, 2010. Yeah. This thing would have never changed. What is, fundamentally, we always wonder about deadlines coming up. We've talked about this before. I don't believe that there are, but are we looking at any changes by default happening in January of 2015?
No, they haven't done anything this year at all. So, I mean, there are some credits out there that may be up for, I'm going to call it termination or expiration. But I don't think they're going to expire. I think they're going to be extended. Things like Section 179 purchases for new equipment for businesses that you can write off. Mm-hmm. Years ago, it was a $500,000 deduction. Then it was dropped to $125,000, and there's murmurs that they were going to reduce it further. I don't think they're going to reduce it further because it wouldn't stimulate the economy.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I knew I saw this. I was going to mention on that. Barack Obama's answer to...
That's great. Stratego.
Yeah. I never actually played Stratego. I was more of a Risk guy.
Okay, no, I played Stratego a lot.
You did? Mm-hmm. What's the difference between it and Risk?
Well...
Did you play Risk much as well?
Yeah, played Risk. I mean,
one's Milton Bradley and the other's Parker Brothers.
That's right.
No, I think it's very different from that. Isn't it more like almost like chess?
Well, what you're doing is it's like capture the flag. That's what it is.
You know who created that graphic, don't you?
Who?
Me.
Oh, really? Very good job. It's a picture of our great president holding, as you like to call him, the great president holding Stratego.
That's a Sigmund special, right?
Yeah,
there.
so strategy. So send him. We ought to start a campaign of sending box after box of Stratego.
Right? Then you can pass it out on the White House lawn.
Yeah, absolutely. So
to illegal Mexicans. No, stop.
Yeah, you're going to get us in trouble. I tell you, he just works every day on getting me in trouble. I don't like that. So
pay no attention to our producer.
Yeah, the guy behind the curtain, the guy who should be behind bars. Don't listen to that guy. Yeah, absolutely. So, sentiment-wise, you've been doing this for a long time, longer now than I think you're willing to confess. But is there anything different about the people that become new clients to yours than historically?
I think a lot of them nowadays don't have as much capital to open new businesses. Where you'd go in, whether it was somebody coming out of medical school or a law firm or whatever, they'd have a lot more to back them going in. Now it's a matter of the hope is you open up smaller because the banking environment here isn't going to give you or me a $150,000 line of credit or loan to open up our new practice.
Yeah.
They'll give us maybe 50, but not, or 75, but not 150.
Yeah.
I mean, I told you that story years back, and it was a few years ago where I was we were opening up our new firm. It was a two-person operation, and went to several banks, and I went to one of them, and we wanted a $75,000 line to purchase equipment and computers and build out of our space and the whole bit. And a couple banks said no with a smile, saying, come back in a year or two. And my response is, in a year or two, I'm not going to need your money.
Yeah.
But went to a small bank on the West Loop, and he said, well, we'll look at it. Well, it just so happened as he's looking down my client list, his best friend and next door neighbor is on that list. And so he goes a day or two later next door with a beer and says, hey, Bob, what do you think of this Loeser character? He wants to come to our bank for $75,000. The neighbor says, I'll guarantee whatever he wants and double that if you'd like. And we didn't need any guarantee. He came back the next day and he says, you got your loan, pick up your check. And I go, am I missing something here? And then he said, well, my best friend and next door neighbor's on your list. And he said, give you whatever you wanted.
Wow.
So that's the difference in then and now. And that was.
And those kind of banks have practically been prohibited now.
Correct.
They're practically wiped off the face of the earth.
Or bought out.
Yeah. I mean, where's Bank of Houston, for example? I mean, that's now so-called independent bank. And I guarantee you it's not nearly as independent as Bank of Houston used to be.
Correct.
I mean, it's just incredible what has happened to banking here.
Yep.
And what it is that they, if you think this administration is for the little guy, they have regulated the little guy
right
bank out of business. Yep. And everything's bigger and bigger. They want to make it harder for businesses to fail without government, forcing government to be always there to bail them out.
And so who are they going after? They're going after, of course, the big corporations, that are these inversions. What was it 2 weeks ago? Dunkin' Donut and Burger King?
Yep.
Okay. Well, when you look at the Canadian tax rates, it's not that much lower than the U.S. tax rates with federal and state involved. So, I mean, if they really wanted to do something, they'd lower the corporate rates so that there isn't even any thought of inversions, a U.S. company being bought out by a Scottish company or a British company or a Canadian company, etc.
Gotta go, Taxman Bob. Great as always. Really got a great segment with him today. Taxman Bob at pdq.net. That's Taxman Bob at pdq.net. Your number?
713-953-1272. 713-953-1272.
I would talk to Bob about all my financial issues, plus some politics, maybe some weather, because Bob's just that kind of guy. All right, when we come back, much more for you right here on The Price of Business.
For you, 19 for me.